Alright, here we go again. This time we are replaying the exact same game from last time, except this time we're going Roiling. And the intention is to find out what's the difference, how does it feel. Of course it's not gonna be the same, since we already know, strictly speaking, like land order, event order, and fake-out order. I'm probably not going to remember them too much. This is just my experience and occasionally replaying a game, that I'm tend to get lost in the game so much that I'm still surprised whenever something comes up. But I cannot promise that. So it's not gonna be harder than last time, at least not for that reason. So if we even with Roiling here isn't a knockdown proof or anything, but it is something I wanted to do, mostly for myself. But yeah, let's just see how it goes. We're going to start the game by drafting our first miner. I've set up the game to be exactly like last time, so we're seeing the same miners, and I think out of these, wow, forgot the initial explorer, it's jungle. Also had to do something about the explorer, with the reminder card falling through the explore deck after I've set it up every time, so maybe I'll have to do some manual step there once we get to the reminder card. Man, English so early in the morning. Oh well. Yeah, so between these cards, which would I like to play? If I'm going animal, then it's either Bad Scout or Devouring Ants, and I actually could see both. Devouring Ants is nice in that it does 2 damage and an extra fear, so it's like 2 fear into the adversary, kills a town. Killing towns is good. Bad Scout is also pretty good. The animal build doesn't have as much Dahan movement as it wants. And it's pretty flexible and also has fear. I think Bad Scout is the better card here. It also doesn't require a Sacred Site. I'm kinda sorry to see the sun go, but you know, it'll be fine. Then I think we start here with Boon of Corrupted Blood. We get to decide which of these two we are going to save and which one we are going to let through. I think the answer has to be we're going to save this, right? Because it has a Dahan and we're not gonna defend this here. We don't have a defend or anything like that. And this also sets me up, no matter which explore we get, whether it be mountain or wetland or sands, we can prevent a build. And that is nice. If you recall from last game we had a 1 in 3 chance of having a bad explore here. In this game we don't. And the reason is that this time we don't have to play around defend, because we don't have any. Is that an upside? I'm not sure. But at least my cards are on element this time around. Alright, so I've executed quick and killed that explorer. Now they build. Alright. Alright. Almost forgot. Which of these are we gonna pull? I don't know, let's just pull this one, who cares? Ah, the explorer button doesn't work. Well, it'll probably work later. Okay. Explore into wetlands. Alright, I don't think we have many choices here. We just Sanguinary Taint that guy. Oh, I hadn't activated these. Add a fear. Push that to hand. Where do we want to push it? So we could push it into 1, but it would... Yeah, I think I like that play. Should it cost me a presence? It's fine. So what we're doing here is, land 1 doesn't have any adjacent towns, right? So what happens now is that it's gonna do 2 damage and kill a Dahan and blight the land. Unless event, which I don't remember if the event did anything there, but even better than less cheating. So unless event happens, this land will blight and kill the Dahan. And the second Dahan will kill the town. Usually that's not easily possible because usually there's an adjacent town somewhere that upgrades the damage in here from 2 to 4. But it isn't the case here. And it also gives us the opportunity to see defend in our draft next turn and do something. So yeah. Time passes, gain a minor. Need to move that stuff here. It's between Infested Aquifers and Call of the Dahan Vase. In multiplayer you could and probably should play Gonk, but in solo Gonk is not a card. I mean, you know, mostly. I wouldn't mind Call of the Dahan Vase. I'm gonna lose at least one Dahan here anyway, right? Has good elements, Infested Aquifers, doesn't really do that much. Alright, then I need to move this presence, and I need to move it here and that here. And the reason is that I'm gonna lose this presence most likely, which means and I still want full coverage of the board. I'm in land 7 and the other land to be in to cover the whole board is land 2, right? Oh, am I gonna lose a presence here again? Yeah, maybe that is. Yeah, that was kind of bad play on my part, huh? I mean, it's not true. So, here's some other options. I haven't decided which cards to play yet, right? What do we know about the next Explorer? It's stage 2, that means we don't, it could be anything. If it's sand or jungle, we could kill here with Bad Scout, but only if we gather a Blight in there, huh? I mean, there's an argument to be made to play Draw to the Water's Edge here. I'm just not sure what it does. Like, it doesn't save land 5, sadly. Could use it for land 7. Let's go back here, this is how we started. Yeah, I'm starting to think placing in here might have been a mistake. I will see. I mean, there's still the option that I could still, gather the town out. Not kill it, which is sad, but also not lose the presence, which is good. I cannot save land 5, I can only evacuate my presence. And land 7 looks unsolvable, as it's going to build 2 towns and it would have like 700 towns. Is it allowed to go down to 2 presences? The answer is extremely dangerous. We're going to flip the Blight card this game for sure. And there's a combination of Blight cards that can kill 2 presences in a single turn instantly, before you even get to react. You need to be at 1 Blight and then take 2. And then the first Blight flips a Still Healthy card that kills the presence, and the second Blight flips the Still Healthy card into Blighted Island, and the Blighted Island card also kills the presence immediately. I could play something like Rack, but it doesn't really help with that, huh? It would help solve land 6. Land 6 could also be solved with Charge of the Water's Edge next turn, if I don't play it this turn. So, I could be playing Bad Scout, or I could be playing Call of the Dahan Vase. I don't even know that I can use it. Yeah, I know I can use it. Doesn't matter which terrain type explores, there's gonna be one land that can be Call of the Dahan Vase. I mean, ideally I keep my double element cards for later when they do more though. So really it's draw to the water's edge and bad scout. And I think I'm gonna use draw to the water's edge next turn, which means I have to play bad scout, which means we'll see in slow what we'll do. But yeah, actually one more choice I guess, and that is where to evacuate which presence. And the answer is this blight needs to be gathered 100%, right? Next turn this blight needs to be gathered, which means if I gather into land 6 now, then next turn I cannot gather both of them, huh? So I'd probably just do that move again. And we'll see what happens. Okay, let's flip the event. Map makers. Okay, so we explore with 2 explorers, let's place it here. Our beast does nothing, okay. And we get a new Dahan in any of our lands, huh? That doesn't have beast, disease, wilds, or badlands, which is basically every land that has Dahan. Maybe land 6 would be good for that. Man, now I wish I had... If I had gathered blight into here, then I would now have a way to kill that town that gets gathered into there, huh? Oh, nothing to be done about it now, I don't think. Okay, then there's no fear card, and the event did not give Dahan defense, so we destroy here. We blight, kill the Dahan, kill the town. Then we blight here. It's a blight for 7 damage, so it's not last condition. Then we don't build in land 6 because it's empty, and we build in land 7. And then we gather towns. We can only gather these 2 towns, and we will. And then the explore button probably still doesn't work, so let's just... Oh man. Let's just do that for now. And it's sands, so it explores twice in sands. Actually, that was... Yeah, due to the fact that I've explored... that I've played an animal card, I can only kill 1 explorer this turn. If I had played something like Call of the Dahan Vase, I could still choose to go into water now, which can move 2 explorers and prevent that build-up. Oh well. Okay. And then we also escalate. We escalate for 1 town, and I think we're choosing this land. I mean, in this land, in land 4, explorers can get eaten by bees, which must be good, right? Yeah. Okay. Oh, that happened. So, this setup is a little bit annoying. This is how... The issue is that this card tends to fall through the rest of the card stack once I add these again. Now this time it works. Let's see if it keeps working. Alright. You know, I'm going to use Bad Scout for damage and land 8 is what I'm going to do. That seems like the best play here. And then Sanguinary Taint is still open. 1 damage, move it to Han. This land is currently at 11 damage, and moving 1 explorer doesn't change anything. Maybe start on here? I'm not sure. I could ping a Dahan into there for next turn. Maybe that's useful. Will the 1 damage there make any difference? Next turn I'm gonna nuke the city, it'll be at a town and 1 or 2 explorers, which means I need a second play for that anyway. That's fine, I'll just do 1 damage and gather this into here, I think. Alright. Time passes, gain a minor. Okay. Those are some pretty good minors. And Nature's Resilience is probably what I'm going to draft here, even though it's a bit awkward because I don't have that many lands and that many presences. But what can you do, right? That's the best card of the pack. There's an argument for Bird's Care wanting... I could use it in land 6 if I wanted to. But this means I have to let land 6 go through. And I'd rather try and save it, that's the issue. Although... yeah. Oh, I wanted to play Draw to the Water's Edge this turn, but I kind of can't. Okay, I could play Nature's Resilience. It would be a bit silly though, but it would work. Okay. So, yeah, I think this kind of works honestly. Playing Nature's Resilience this turn. Playing maybe Call of the Dahanwise. Let's see. So I'm going to move this over here, which means that after... oh fuck, I can't. My plan was to be in that land and that land only, and that would have been awkward already, but I need to draw the blight out of here, and for that, I need to be in a land adjacent to that. Which means I need to be in here, which means I cannot Nature's Resilience, so... yeah, losing one too many presences here in the early game was just really awkward. So, it's gonna be fine next turn, since next turn I'm gonna be up at 4 presences again, plus minus what happens when we flip Blighted Island. I can prevent one blight with Draw to the Water's Edge. It means I'm not gonna kill a city though. Maybe that is fine, maybe I don't need to kill a city, maybe I have Nature's Resilience for that. Okay, my plan for for land 2 next turn is Nature's Resilience by and large. That allows me to not kill the city this turn. And then... what's the second card we play? We are online now in terms of roiling. So that's one thing that's going for us. So that is for saving land 6. Maybe I should be in here. That seems good. Oh no, I can't. If I'm in there, then the... yeah, I think I need to play Wreck. And I think I know how it solves then. I need to be... well, that is rough. The adjacencies here are pretty bad. I want to be adjacent to land 8. Actually, you know what? I could move this presence here. Instead of that. Just say, okay, I'm gonna lose one presence, who cares? And then I could, even if I wanted to, Nature's Resilience this turn. Is that good though? That would be the play where I move this into here or something and I lose coverage of that land, but I accept that. And then I can draw to the Water's Edge out of land 6, draw out of here, and I'm still adjacent to land 8. Or I could Nature's Resilience land... and I think that's probably better. And then the town that's gonna get pushed into there is gonna get pushed out again with Rack. Okay. I think that's what how we're going to play it. Is it? Is it? Are they going to build a city? No, they're just gonna build a town. They're not gonna build at all. They're just gonna gather stuff, huh? No, I think this is... No, this is not fine. No, actually, this is fine. This is gonna get gathered into here and die. I recall I had a plan with this. Okay. So, let's defend for 6. Inland 6. And flip event. And here it is, rising just in the island. So I have to add a town and remove this card. And this means that this whole shenanigans down here is gonna be over soon at least. I add a town to land 5, let's say. It's a bit dangerous because there's 2 blight in there, which means it takes 2 turns to draw the blight out of. And then there's also land 1. Maybe that is an argument to do it in... It's gonna be fine. And then I don't add a beast because my jungles are blighted, but I do add... Yeah, I'd like to have a wilds in here. I would not like them to explore into here next turn. Actually, it would be fine. I still have one... Wreck with Pain and Grief has 1 explorer movement left over in case that happens. So maybe that? Sure. And then let's start. We are ravaging. This is defended and the town takes 2 damage. This is not defended. I take 1 less condition blight and I lose a presence. And this means we flip. And we flip into... Oh, I forgot to set that up. That is something I forgot to change. But we're flipping into... Give me a second. Which of these is it? Promising farmlands is what we flip into. Does this work? Just press that. Sure, sure. No, not what I wanted. So, let's flip that. Alright, that is correct. That is what happens. And we get a town and a city in 1 land without any. So I get to choose between land 8, land 4, and land 1. This time it happens before the reminder card, because I take my blight earlier. The water bill tends to be lower blight, at least at the start of the game. So that's what we're seeing here. So we have to add into lands. Oh, right, I have to add to this land, huh? Maybe that is fine. Something like this, and then I'll have to add to the land with the fewest blight, which is 4 and 6 and 8, right? Except 6 will have blight. No, 6 will not have blight, so it's, yeah. Okay, nothing to be done there. Alright, so that happened. Then we build. Don't build here, don't build here. And then we gather this town into here and it dies. We have our first fear card, yay. We gather this into here. And then we flip the explore card. And it's wetlands. And we explore into here and into here. And we don't take any escalation. And the reminder card is now triggered. And from now on, explore should work again. So I have to add a city. I think I'll add it here. This land is already large enough. Oh well, land 4 and land 3. I don't want them both to have a town and a city. And then I have to add a town in land 4, a town in land 6, and a town in land 8. And of course I had not considered the town in land 8 last turn. But it's okay, because I have draw to the water's edge left over. So if I don't do anything here, it still works, right? Okay, I need to take care of land 1. So I think one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use Sanguinary Taint on it. It's not enough though, I need to use something else. And there's no something else, huh? Maybe I have to take the Blight due to the 1 Explorer. Now I wish I had played Call of the Unwise. I wouldn't have made a difference. I wish I still had Nature's Sicilians, is what I wish. That would have been defendable, right? It's 5 damage plus 2 from an adjacent turn. Alright, let's just play the game. We do that, we move them into, say, I don't know, here? I'm not sure, do I want to kill that guy? And that's probably not. So, just do 1 damage here. Then 2 fear from Wreck with Pain and Grief. I'm gonna have 2 fear cards. And push these 2 into here. Ah, I can't. I would have liked to do that. Actually, there's also a beast. Push those 2 into here, I guess. Not exactly how I want that land to be, but you know. And I think that was my slow, huh? Time passes. Alright. Next turn. Gain 3 energy. Gain some presences on this board. I need to be in here. Man. To gather from there. And then for land 7 I need beast in there, which I guess I can do. I have a second presence to place. No, only if I forget a card. But I could move this like here, which I would like. How many towns will this have? Something like 6. And I gather a beast, I kill 2 towns, down to 4, and then I push out 2 towns down to 2. It's still gonna have 2. So it'll probably still ravage, huh? And I must ensure that it's not lost condition. But it's fine, right? It's gonna be fine. We're serving this land with draw to the water's edge. We're doing Call of the Dahan Ways and something. Yeah, we're hitting both of our innates full strength this turn. That'll surely help. None of these cards require me to have... Actually, let me do that. No. I have to gather this, in case this actually blights, which it could. Alright. I have to gather into here. It's the only land that's adjacent and not acting this turn. That was my quick. It's event. It's urbanization, which I remember now. Replace half of the town, rounding up even. Oh man. Rounding up, you say? Sure, why not? I've never liked that event. Always feels so swingy. And then Stricken doesn't affect me, and then I have to push the hand from lands with city to lands without a city, which means I have to push the Dahan out of here. I don't like that either. I'm gonna push it into here. Chances are it dies, but there's a chance that it interacts favorably with the fear cards, which we also didn't hit for that land. Disable heal. Oh, I remember. Yeah, that fear card is worth us as always, and this is a downgrade, but doesn't save that land. -1 Dahana, I guess so. Where would I like to do that? The issue is the lands I would most like to do that in are kinda... I mean, at least the town count on the board has lowered, right? The city count has risen, but probably can deal with that. I can do it in land 5 or in land 4 and land 3. I think it's pretty bad regardless where, so let's just use that. I'm not sure which I'm supposed to take here. This is not a chase into land 6, so it's easier to have land 6 empty of towns, maybe. Alright. This blights, rip Metahan. But it's only for 4, so not last condition. This doesn't build. This builds 2 towns. And then we explore jungle, which is a bad explore. And the escalation doesn't trigger once more. So I think the best play for Call of the Dahan Vase is to replace here, which is a pretty weak play, honestly. But the other thing it enables for us is to have Swell and Spill on level 2. I need to clear out land 7, and I also need to... have some more beasts in there. Can I clear out both cities? The answer is yes. Can I clear out all towns? The answer is yeah, I could. Alright, so basically land 7 is cleared with the use of my slow innate now and my quick innate next turn. So what do I do about land 1 and land 5? So one thing I could be doing is I could use Swell and Spill on land 5. Push some Dahan into here, help clear that land. It's not the strongest use I've ever seen. I mean, in theory, I can push the beast from land 4 into land 7 this turn. Is that good? Like, it does 1 damage. Which reminds me, this also does 1 damage if I use it on there, huh? And I would like to use that damage. On the other hand, there's that. I could do 2 damage by using Bloodwater and Bloodlust on land 5, killing an Explorer here, and then pushing a Dahan and an Explorer into land 7 for 2 damage. And then I could ping out that Dahan again. That seems about as good as it gets. So that's 1 damage. And then that is Swell and Spill, 1 fear. We push the Dahan into here. We push the Beast into here. We push the Blight into here, I don't know. And then I still have 1 push left over, which could be either a town which we don't have, a beast which we don't have, or a presence. But I think I'm happy with where the presence is. So I'm let that last one expire, and then that did 2 damage there, killing this town. And then I'll add Sanguinary Taint, 1 fear, 1 beast, kill that city, and push that Dahan right back. So next turn this land is solved using Roiling Waters, and for land 1 we'll see three cities are a lot. But I also have Nature's Resilience, so maybe reclaim all. Gain a card, gain a miner. I mean, I could in theory replace Cycles of Tide and Time, but Call to Bloodshed must be the card here. It has Animal and other good elements. Alright. We are now in turn 5, which means no more presence destruction, which means my innates are online fully, which means I can clear this land and do a shit ton of fear in the process, unlike what the equivalent water card would have done. What is too new? I need to play for that to work. Either Call of Bloodshed or Boon of Corrupted Blood. Could both work. Let's just pretend it's Call of Bloodshed for now. And then I need to play Bloodwater and Bloodlust. And then I need to play one card that has Animal. And the rest is irrelevant. It could be Bad Scout by Darkness. It has good synergy with Call to Bloodshed. So let's do that. Alright. I'm going to gather this into here, doing 1 damage to, I don't know, the city. Then 1 town and 1 explorer do damage to other invaders. The city dies and 1 town is damaged. 2 fear. And I push out all of this garbage into, say, land 4 perhaps? I think I want to start stacking invaders because I now have cards that are good at clearing large and built-up lands. Also not adjacent to land 1, unlike land 8, which means it can't gather a town into land 1 after building. Okay. And I have another 2 fear cards. Nice. Event. Thriving Trade. If there are 4 more lands with town, add one blight to a land without adjacent to town. There are not. There are only 3 lands with town, because I'm starting to clear up this board. So basically nothing happens. Nice. Then add 1 disease to the coast land with the most buildings, and that land 3 damage to Dahan. Nice. And then Clever Cooperation. Each spirit may push one of their presences from land with Dahan. So if I wanted to, I could push from here into there. I think that is fine. I'm still going to be able to reach the whole board from lands 1 and 5. I will be able to use the Sacred Site with Nature's Resilience next turn. And I'll be able to place new presences next turn to increase coverage. I think it has to be on the cities side. If anything, the cities are the issue in that land. Mimic the Dahan. Each player replaces 1 town or... no, Veteran level 1. I cannot use it. I need lands with 2 Dahan and they don't have invaders currently. Depopulation. Replace 1 town with 1 explorer. I could just downgrade this town to an explorer, and because it already has 1 damage, it dies. Sounds good, right? Could have done it here too, but I felt like killing that town here. It's more like removing since I don't get fear, but whatever. Alright, we ravage for 0 blight. We don't build in either of these 2 lands, but we gather. There's no adjacent town here. There's an adjacent town here. And then we explore into jungle and sands. And isn't it lovely when the explore button and the push cards button work again? So, we're doing Bad Scout for Raised by Darkness. 1 fear, and we gather up to 2 Dahan. We're gathering these 2 Dahan. This does 1 damage in this land, killing the city because it was already at 1 HP. Then we're using Call to Bloodshed in there, doing 2 damage to that city here. And then we're using Sanguinary Taint, doing 3 damage to this city, adding 1 Fear, adding 1 Beast, pushing that Dahan into there, killing that Explorer. And then we use Bloodwater and Bloodlust. Killing that city, right? That must be correct. This land, yeah, annoying. Maybe I just Nature Sicilians it. But it's fine. Basically cleared out the entire lands. That's not true. These 2 lands are very much not cleared out. But they are very much dealable. Alright. We're going to go open up the Reclaim 1, take 3 energy, start placing some presences on this board. Maybe here, so that I can choose if I want to Nature's Resilience here as well. Going to reclaim Bloodwater and Bloodlust. Play these 2 cards, Nature's Resilience. And then I only have to decide which land to Nature's Resilience, and I think the answer should be this land, right? Yeah, defense 6 this land because it has 2 Dahan. And then for this land we are going to... Although, there's an argument to be made. Nah, it has to be correct. It kind of stacks my beast in too few lands, but what can I do? Pull that into here, doing 1 damage to that town. 2 fear. They do damage to each other, killing each other, right? A town does 2 damage to the explorers, and 1 explorer does damage to the town. And then I push that over here, killing that. And then I still have Boon of Corrupted Blood, which I guess it means I place a presence in here instead of in there, so I can do that. Sure. In multiplayer I would have 100% given out Boon of Corrupted Blood to a different player now. Whatever. Oh, and also we have 3 fear cards. Yeah, this game is going better. Farmers seek the Dahan for it. Dahan uncertain, blah blah. 2 damage to Dahan land with. So if I take top, then I add a blight here. But it doesn't cascade since that land doesn't have blight or anything like that. And invaders have less health, and I think I'm just gonna take that. I'm gonna lose a bunch of Dahan. Yeah, it's kinda sad, but it'll help me close out the game. And yeah, I'm not gonna die to blight at this point, because I think I probably win next quick and the latest, so there's not gonna be another Ravage, except for this Ravage here, and I already know that this Ravage doesn't do any blight. Alright, so 2 damage to Dahan and a land with buildings in Dahan. I never know whether or not this means that whether or not that is defended or like reduced by defend, but let's just assume that it isn't. Add 1 blight. And now all invader buildings have -1 health. And then on half the boards, running up, add Dahan to a land with both Dahan and invaders. Let's do it here, and I think it kills the Dahan there. Which, unhappy, but we'll survive. So, I do have a Sacred Site and land with invaders, so I get 1 energy. And I also get to add a Strife, which, who cares? I do it here. There's some fear cards that kill Strifed invaders, and I would like to kill this guy. Trade Cephas. Downgrade coastal towns. Imagine having coastal towns. Scapegoats. In each land with buildings, destroy explorers per buildings. Yeah, that is actively bad, but I will accept it. This dies, these die. It's bad because now using, what is it? Water's Taste of Ruin on land 4 does less damage. It needs to have an explorer for that 4th point of damage. But oh well, we'll see if that's even relevant. The first thing that happens is that they ravage and this town dies. Then they build. They don't build here, they don't build here, but the disease gets removed. They don't build here, they don't build here. And then they gather this town into here. And then they explore into these lands. Actually, they don't. Yeah, they do explore into here because of that town. Alright, Raxomir. And now it's my slow. I should remember all of their buildings have one less health. Which basically just means I do this, right? Right. I was thinking of killing those two cities, but maybe it's correct to do that next turn in quick. Yeah, I think correct move is to kill that town here. 1 damage from the beast, right? And it only has 1 health. And then use my innate on that, killing that town and that city. That would be Sanguinary Taint. And then time passes and I only have 1 city on the board, 1 building on the board. I just reclaim my cards and gain some random minor, I don't know. And then play 1, 2, 3, who knows? Cards. Gather this. Oh. So he's an issue. There's no... Do I have quick hand movement? Yeah. Well, can I get 3 damage in quick somehow? I mean... I just kind of assumed that I could do that. The mistake was clearing that town last turn. I think I could have just decided to, since I have no new information, I'm not gonna, I mean, I guess I have that card, but who cares, man? Let's pretend I didn't draw that card. It's irrelevant to my, plan to victory. That is why I don't mind ignoring the card, even though it's technically new information. So, with the knowledge and the cards I had last turn, I think what I needed to do was leave that town alive, which, allocates 1 more damage to the city that does then get healed in time passes. And then this turn in quick, I reclaim, I gain that card, whatever it is. And then I play... I still need a way to do damage to that town, though, is an issue. I mean, I can kill the city now, but it's not enough because I'm not at city victory level yet. Are you telling me I have to play 1 more turn because I cannot find the right line of play? I mean, the right line of play is domesticated animals go berserk, right? Or nature's resilience. So maybe we do just that and win in Ravage. I don't like winning in Ravage. It's... something comes up every time you try. But in theory, barring no bad events, this is lethal, I think. Alright, so what we do is we gather into here. And actually the reason we cannot finish this turn in quick is because we drew Scapegoat last turn and Scapegoat killed the Explorer and the Explorer damage is required to do what I want here. Funny. Because with 4 damage I could do 3 damage to the city, 1 damage to the town, push the town into here and then kill it with Boon of Corrupted Blood, winning in quick. Oh well. So we play these 3 cards, we gather the beast into there, we do 2 fear, we kill that city. We only have 3 damage in total, right? So we push that into here, we do 1 damage here with Boon of Corrupted Blood, and then we defend 6 with Nature's Resilience, and then we win in quick, hopefully. That's event. Live Swap, Torn Asunder. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, I take a plate. That is not a plate. Down to 1, that is closer than I wanted, honestly. I was kind of not expecting to play this turn. Or this to flip this event. Destroy one building in a land with Beast. Well, at least we win instantly, but yeah. So, was this my cleanest game? I don't think so. I think with better play you can probably shave 1 or 2 blight off that card. Like, plausibly you could have gone Teach the Invaders last turn and it would have prolonged the game by 2 turns, but you'd have more blight left or something like that. But I just saw the victory and felt like taking it. Now for a comparison between water and animal here. I think Animal did better on board stage. So something that happened is that I blighted 2 turns earlier. One or two turns earlier, which meant I took less towns from the escalation. That needn't be a bad thing, but I mostly managed to stabilize after that. And if you can take up to 5 blight on your board and then stabilize, it's a good strategy. If you cannot stabilize, it's really bad or really dangerous. And even in this game, we could have had events that added more blight. On the other hand, we could have had, if the events had added more blight, there wouldn't have been urbanization or something, so the game would have been easier in other respects maybe. Yeah, it's a bit closer comfort, honestly, but I think it's an honest win. And I'm not sure if water can do it, but with animal it was definitely possible. And probably even better than what I did here. Alright, good game.